As the Trump administration's crackdown on immigrants intensifies in the U.S., a Purdue University student from Korea was recently released from federal detention, while a green card holder living in the United States for 35 years was also detained, sending shockwaves through the Korean community in the United States. For more on this, we're joined by Steve Kang, chairman of the Korean American Federation of Los Angeles. Mr. Kang, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So immigration raids like these are unprecedented, right? How do cases like this reflect the Trump administration's immigration policy?
So at the beginning of this year, with the installation of President Trump, many in our community, whether you supported Trump or not, understood that his immigration policy will be prioritizing those who are undocumented, but who are also violent criminals. So there was no disagreement, even within immigrant communities like the Korean American community, where, of course, if you're undocumented and if you're a violent criminal, you should be prosecuted and potentially deported. So there was no disagreements on that. However, that policy has evolved without a major policy announcement from the White House to involve green card holders, other undocumented individuals who are productive members of society, and also naturalized citizens like myself. So I would say that the current immigration policy is very anti-minority and anti-immigrant, and also very much fragmented.
I see, and all this must have been very shocking for Koreans living in the United States. How is the Korean community in Los Angeles reacting to the recent immigration raids?
So just like the case you alluded to earlier, and many more, I think there are significant pockets of our community who are living in fear and shock, because many felt that if you have a green card, if you have a valid visa, or if you're a naturalized U.S. citizen, you are shielded from this type of immigration crackdown. However, as you've reported in ArirangNews, many with valid visas and without prior criminal history are being rounded up, whether you're in New York or Los Angeles, San Francisco, no matter what city or town that you live in. So many in our community are feeling and living under fear.
That sounds very concerning. I understand the ICE immigration agents have been arresting hundreds of immigrants every day across the United States. What do the raids look like in Los Angeles, where you live, and how are they changing people's daily lives there?
So here in Los Angeles, the recent unrest that you've all seen and reported in Korea was unprecedented, because although, yes, when these raids happened, but it without any sort of court order, without any sort of law enforcement cooperation, the local police department have no idea. And they're coming in unmarked cars, and they are basically rounding up anybody that they could find, whether you have valid visas or citizenship cards. Even there has been cases where U.S. citizens have been rounded up by mistake, and they were later released from detention because they were able to prove. So many of these immigration raids are happening based on the skin color, whether you look like an immigrant. So it's been very much chaotic, and that has basically increased the fear and uncertainty in our community.
I see. And what kind of diplomatic efforts do you think is needed from the South Korean government to help resolve this issue?
So many in the Korean American community here in the U.S. Were delighted to hear that the new President Lee of South Korea will be meeting with President Trump at the end of this month. So although the topics of discussion will involve tariffs and security agreements, of course, however, we're hoping that this issue will be also addressed, because it is not only impacting Korean Americans who have naturalized or are raised in the U.S., but it's impacting Korean nationals who are living with proper documentation, who are being rounded up or mistaken as criminals and being deported, potentially deported back to Korea, which will have a larger implication. So we're hoping that the Korean government will be much more proactive in their diplomacy.
I see. All right, Mr. Kang, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.